So heading into the first session, which is modeling data at the edge, quick idea of what we're going to do. We're going to use most of what's down here. We are going to enable control and data collection at the edge. We're going to do that with legacy devices, or any device really. We are going to convert it to open protocol, move it away from polling. We're going to do birth device, or auto birthing, tag creation.
Correct.
We're going to do all of this stuff. I'm just checking. Okay.
Yeah.
We are going to do that with a small hardware footprint.
Correct.
Small bandwidth utilization. And we're going to cater for the loss of communication.
All right, I'm going to hand over to Tebe and Laura. They are the brains behind the DLF. So they're going to explain to us exactly how do we liberate these edge data points that we have? How do we take a legacy protocol, convert that legacy protocol into an open standard that everybody can access whenever they want and whenever they need that data as well.
Thank you, Lenny. So what we have here is your traditional setup, right? So you have an HMI on site and your I/O. You have, in this case, we have a tech burner HMI connecting to a PLC talking codices, right? Or running codices, and then it's talking I/O link to different sensors here. We have a temperature sensor, calipers. We have a vibration sensor as well, right? So this is what you find on site. How we're talking is we are talking OPC UA going to the PLC, and then the PLC talking to the rest of the sensors. Laura, what I'd like you to do now is just explain how we got Ignition running here and what we're doing here, right? So we have your HMI, and how is it actually putting everything together?
Okay, hi everyone. So like Tebe said, this is your traditional edge architecture. So we have all of our sensors directly connected to our Ignition Edge gateway, you know, the one that you can see on the screen. Now, Edge is a very specific edition. So it's not your full-fledged Ignition platform that gives you unlimited device connections and views and sessions. This is a bit limited, but this is very specifically, you know, for remote devices and views. So Edge provides you with two types of sessions or views. We can have a local view, like we have on the HMI panel there, and we can also have a remote view as well. So that's pretty much you connecting to the gateway through any type of mobile device. You just need to be on the same network or have credentials and have the IP address, and you'll be able to see exactly what we're seeing on that panel.
Correct.
Right. So
sorry, what OS does that little HMI run?
Actually, this is OS agnostic. So it just so happens this guy is running Linux, but it doesn't really matter.
Windows, Linux, ARM.
Even Mac.
Even Mac.
Even Mac.
even Mac.
Yes.
Perfect, thanks.
Okay. And with Ignition Edge, it provides you with two types, well, not types, two device connections, right? Which can be of any type. At the moment, we currently have one connection set up, like Tebe explained.
So the OPC UA?
Yes, OPC UA. And let me actually show you. So this is the Edge gateway, and we'll be running pretty much our Ignition Edge panel today. Okay, so OPC UA device connections. Give it a second.
So Laura, what you're doing here is just telling the panel where to get its data, right?
Pretty much. Right, there we go. So we are connected to our OPC UA server that's currently running on the panel. And you'll see the only thing that is pretty necessary is just some, it's not there. There we go. It's just the connection details that you need to set up that type of connection.
So to recap, the list of devices that we can connect to from the edge, OPC UA,
yes.
got some Siemens, Bradley, Modbus.
I'm actually going to show you. So I will be creating a connection, an OPC UA device connection, to a Modbus. Right.
Okay. All right, so because I wanted to ask this, OPC UA is not really a legacy protocol, right? Technically, OPC UA gives you the capability to open it up. You can build a unified namespace structure with OPC UA as well. So I'm glad you guys are going to talk a little bit of a more old school polling protocol.
A lot of people ask us about Modbus, hence we thought it would be a great thing to show. So this is a list of all the drivers that comes pre-installed with your Ignition. And I'm going to just go ahead and create a Modbus connection.
Yes.
So
while Laura is doing this, just want to clarify, with Ignition Edge, you get two connections to two OPC UA servers. You also get two connections to then two of these legacy type of PLCs. All right, so you've got two connections to potentially a Siemens and a Rockwell driver. and additional to that, 2 OPC UA connections as well. The Edge product is not unlimited tags still, but the connections to the devices that you're connecting to is limited. Reason being, it is meant to be little local HMI control, and then also extending that to IoT that we're going to do a little bit later as well.
Yeah. Cool. So at the moment, you'll see I'm just asking Modbus to bring in a few meters. So this aren't just any type of meter data. This is our power meter data coming directly from our DLF buildings nationwide.
So that looked very easy. Laura, how would I then confirm that I have a connection to my data?
That's exactly what I'm showing you now. So navigating over to our OPC Quick client, I added that device connection, and that is how fast and easy it is to get your tag data in.
Okay, cool. So we have a little Raspberry Pi here just getting the data for us there. Yeah.
Okay,
It's not actually nationwide.
So the Raspberry Pi runs OpenPLC. OpenPLC just simulates a few metadata for us, and we're getting that metadata through Modbus.
Cool.
Right, one thing that you didn't see when we're doing the quick client here is, do you see any Modbus addressing here? No, you see a nice name to your Modbus address, meter 1, meter 2, meter 3. So Ignition gives you the capability to create an alias list, so you don't have to worry if it's marker word 1024, offset 1, all those nice things that Modbus normally gives us headaches with. Right, so it gives us that capability to create these alias lists within my Modbus device.
Okay.
Cool. All right, so we connected to this legacy device. All right, how do we model this now at the edge to actually give us our metadata?
All right, so like Lenny said, it's on the edge. So I will be opening my Ignition Designer, which is connected to my edge gateway. Some of you might be familiar with this, but this is our tool that allows you to design and build SCADAs, HMIs, pretty much anything that you want to build, you can build in here. All right, so how we do that is, you'll see in my tag browser, I am connected to the edge, which is my tag provider at the moment. And I know I have a Modbus connection set up. So the first thing that I would need to do is, yes, in this case, it's easy. We've got 10 meters, right? But what if I've got 1,000 meters?
All right, so the
I don't wanna-
scalability concept, you need to be able to quickly and easily instantiate all of those meters, 100%.
I'm not going to do it 1,000 times, even 10 times. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a data type, a UDT, and it's going to be a very basic type.
All right, so we are creating a structure for our meter, all right, and we're going to do it in such a way that it will automatically address the points. So when I instantiate this meter 10 times, it will automatically connect to my Modbus sensor data, and all the meters should just miraculously get their values without you having to manually change addresses. All right, so that's what Laura is busy with now.
Yeah, so I'm obviously not connecting to all of the tags now. I'm creating the UDT with some member tags, because I'm telling it, listen, in Modbus, I've got meters, and all of my meters have 3 member tags, which will be my PV, my rate, and then my set point tag as well.
Cool.
Okay. 1 second more, please.
So Lenny, this would be a cookie cutter for my tags, basically, so I can just instantiate when I'm ready.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so Laura is just creating the
that.
members for the tags, and now she's going to address them to the relevant points in the OPC server. And then we're going to parameterize it, right? We can't hard code it. There need to be a parameter, so it automatically looks up
this thing,
the
yeah.
tags for our different meters.
I can feel the MES experts becoming very impatient.
All right, competitive SCADA live building has never been this exciting.
So here we have our meter UDT, and we are looking for 3 tags in all of our meters, right? So the next step is to go and instantiate these guys. Now, I have just a pre-built little folder over there, and again, Ignition comes with this very cool tool called the Instance Creation Wizard, and I'm just going to instantiate the amount that I want over here.
The importance here is that this model or these tag structures that you're going to create on the edge, that is going to translate into when we're going to make it open as an open protocol. So the idea is that you model your plant structure and your UDT structure as close as the edge as possible. Right. Everything upstream can then utilize this nice structure that you've built when you're busy birthing it. Right. Cool.
That didn't even take like a minute, though.
There we
I think
go.
That was a
Yes.
few
10
seconds.
meters instantiated.
Ooh, set point. That means I did something wrong.
That's fine.
Let me check my parameter. Ah, Laura.
All right, so she's just fixing a UDT, and hopefully when she checks in that UDT, all of the 10 instances
Yes.
will just
There we
miraculously
go.
get the update. There we go, look at that. All right, so from a
Nice.
scalability and workability perspective, if you create your UDT structure and you model it at the edge, you should have no issue instantiating this a million times.
Saves a lot of time.
Okay, so, all right, now it's in ignition, Laura. How do
Yes.
we make this available with open protocols to the rest of the world?
Yeah, so we now obviously have a bit of a structure going on in Ignition itself, which is obviously if I save the project, it's available in the gateway. But now the thing is, I want to make this available to not just Ignition, to pretty much any device,
Yeah.
right? I want to be
To
able
the rest of the enterprise,
to
basically.
the rest of the enterprise. Right, so the whole idea is to show you that we have a view that is waiting for data, right?
All right, so it's broken on purpose.
Yeah,
all
it's
right? So
supposed to look like
idea is-
this.
The whole idea is that we're going to now liberate the data from the edge, and we're going to push it to a broker-centric architecture. So how does a traditional Modbus protocol work? Polling, right? You ask for the device, give me your tag. Every second, you poll, you poll, you poll. Right, broker-centric is going to turn it a little bit on its head. The client, when the value changes, is going to give that value to a broker. Say, hey, I've changed. If I didn't change in 2 minutes, why must I give you a new value? Okay, now the broker that we're using in this case is an MQTT broker. All right, so its main purpose was to be bandwidth light and only to report on exception. Okay, so what Laura's going to show you guys is how we take now the Ignition Edge IoT device, flick of a switch, enable the MQTT transmitter. It's going to birth, right? Sure. It's going
Those
to
tags.
birth all of these tags onto the broker.
Sounds very interesting.
And anybody that understands what this birth is and what the tag naming structure is of that birth will be able to get that data and show it. Okay. It's a protocol called
anybody-
Sparkplug B. So the best way that I can explain what Sparkplug B is if you think about internet, HTTP.
This is fun.
Right. If it wasn't for HTML on the HTTP protocol, the internet would not have been what it is today. So think about the MQTT protocol as a protocol. It would not have been so widely adopted in the industrial world if it was not for the Sparkplug B protocol on top of that payload. Why is it so important? Exactly that. When a device comes alive, it's going to birth, it's going to say, hey, here I am new, and anybody can then get that packet of data, that topic, and be able to now listen and get the new data points from it. Okay, so she's not going to create tags. She's not going to link the tags from the broker. It's automatically going to appear.
Has anybody heard of the concept of the Unified Namespace? The Unified Namespace, probably made famous by Walker Reynolds. So this is a fairly fundamental building block to get to the Unified Namespace. And some people will argue that the Unified Namespace is just an attempt to panel beat a SCADA into middleware. But this is a fairly fundamental step to get to the Unified Namespace. There's some really clever people that have built unified namespaces with some nice software. There's specifically a gentleman at the back there, Hanu. He can have a real conversation with somebody like Walker Reynolds. But it's a small little piece of technology, MQTT, that enables incredible value from a data point of view. So the concepts around MQTT, broker, auto-birthing, Sparkplug, those are important points to remember.
So I'm using the MQTT transmitter module. It's installed on my Edge gateway. You'll see I already have it set up, but it's not enabled. So
How does it know what tags to actually push that you've got on the edge?
that's very interesting. So you'll see that we have the tag provider and the tag pass. So it tells this transmitter to go and check where the data is coming from, those tag paths. So just to remind you, it's not working. Okay, so I'm going to enable the transmitter. And in a few seconds, we should be able to see the data coming in. Right. You'll see meter 10, it has array tag. That's not pulling in. So is this an issue? technically, from in the Modbus itself, there's not a rate tag for meter 10. So it's fine, we already instantiated it. So whenever someone goes and adds that tag to the Modbus, it will pull through automatically.
Just like
they
all the
say,
other
it's
ones.
kind of like, hey,
Just like all the other ones.
just like all the other ones. So you're pretty much just provisioning a connection for that guy. Right, cool. So that's the data coming in.
Okay, Laura, you have published my data. We are happy. We see the app is updating. What do I do to actually, what happens when I want to actually use it somewhere else in the enterprise? We have the live data coming in, right? What do I do then?
Well, this data is now being pushed through the MQTT broker, right? The idea is we want to take these tags, we want to take this data, and we want to utilize it, right? We want to know, listen, what happened in the past? What's happening now? What can happen in the future? I want to not just make this data available to any device that can connect to the MQTT broker.
You want to make it great again.
I want to make it great again. I want to make it valuable. I want to liberate this guy.
Cool.
Right.